This city of stone and steel is an endless scream in nature's womb. I have felt no peace here. Until now. Your eyes, Stira. There is pain, endless and deep, but also devotion, blazing like the sun. You're in love. Are you not? You are wise to admit it. When it comes to love, vulnerability is armor. Truth, a sword, and trust, a shield. I pray you wield all three, Stira. Bring the one you love to me. I will look into your hearts and see if your love is eternal or doomed eternally.
Thoroughly magical. Let's have at it.
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. I see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Gale, the learned wizard, the charming gentleman, the walking apocalypse. Listen, think. If the wizard were given the choice, what food would he be?
Ah, the fruit of scholars. How I long to have a troop of loyal students grace me with apples by the orchardful in exchange for wisdoms imparted. Ah.
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. The heart is fraught, so let us turn to the joyous. When is Gale happiest?
Bravo. That is indeed where my mind wanders to, when times are hard.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but now we must dig deeper, into the most painful reaches of the spirit. We often gaze through a veil of roses, but love accepts both the petal and the thorn. Gale, what is his greatest flaw?
Hearing it said out loud. Yes, I fear it is true. Fate seems determined to make a sacrifice of me. But perhaps fate can yet be defied. A perfect score. Seems you know me better than I know myself.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you.
Still rolling in the muck, I see.
Or in toys with us where she could destroy us. Whatever her motivations, I hope she reveals them quickly.
That collar looks familiar. Does this cat belong to Gale?
Mr. Dekarios, heavens! Fancy seeing you here.
Tara! That can't be you, can it?
I suppose you won't be terribly shocked to find your old friend Tara amongst the pigeons. They've always been a personal favourite.
My, is that a ring? For us? Oh, you shouldn't have. Enjoy yourself now, Tara. Looks like you've got yourself set up quite nicely here. Oh, right. Did you hear that, Tara? Stop it?
Well, these must be important birds indeed, Mr. Dekarios. Forgive me for feasting on their bodies and bones so very voraciously.
Oh, she's agreed. Just about. Tara remains as willful as ever. I'm glad you finally made her acquaintance. Given the length of my time away, I feared she might have given up on me. Oh, I should have known better. She'd never do such a thing. I wouldn't have her any other way. I'd actually been thinking about introducing the two of you anyway. Over a sumptuous home-cooked meal, if that sounds at all to your taste. My tower in Waterdeep boasts an excellent kitchen and a wine cellar to rival Ondar himself. Not to mention a larder stocked with my homemade Hundor sauce. More than you could possibly believe. Now that we've got something to look forward to, I think it's time we went and saved the world. Don't you? Anything you ask, I'll answer as honestly as I can. I'm an open book, requiring only your gentle hands to turn my pages. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. More excited than I've been in months. I can't tell you how curious I am to learn more about the Crown controlling that Elder Brain. Believe me when I say how important this could be for me, for both of us. Potentially life-saving, so long as we can learn how it could be taken and used.
Literature department. Can I help you? Whoosh. These books are sensitive. They prefer an environment of quiet reverence. What you've done! By all the gods, I'd give my ear for the least bit of respect for the written word. Go act the clown on your own time. Come back when you've cobbled together some manners and are prepared to pay for the damages. That's better. How can I help you? Bold. You might have heard that our library has a collection other shops would lack the skill to curate. Between us, even Master Leverokin was reluctant to house them in his tower. The pen is mightier than the magic wand, apparently. They're locked away here for their and our customers' safety. Our finest reserve includes the Tharkiat Codex, the Annals of Karsus and Netherese Folly, Sights of the Sealy, and the Curriculum of Strategy. Do any of those interest you? It is said to be written by Lord Karsus himself, the Netherese arcanist who attempted to replace the goddess Mystra, failed, and was banished for the attempt. Great magical knowledge lies within those pages, but not many can withstand it.
That's it. That's what I need. The Annals of Karsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. If the crown atop the Elder Brain was truly forged by Karsus himself, this book will confirm it. All we have to do is turn the page. That devil Raphael was telling the truth. There's no doubt. The crown of Karsus is what's controlling the Elder Brain. And this is no mere journal. It contains Karsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for godhood. Not exactly. It was what he did with it that sealed his fate, and, for a time, that of magic itself. The crown was merely the means. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Karsus's downfall. If we can collect the crown's setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. To every end you can imagine, and 1,000 more beyond. Just think of it. The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. We must discuss this further, but quietly, privately. Find me later, and I will show you something truly divine. I will show you what a crown like this could mean for both of us. I can hardly wait.
I intend to achieve greatness. And I intend to do it for a long, long, long time.
He would seek the power of gods for the pettiest of reasons. His own gratification. At least I seek them for the better of all.
What's that? I didn't quite catch the words, but the insolent tone was clear enough.
Pitying, not insolent. You chase one power without knowing an even greater one lies within my reach. The crown of Karsus. Once we acquire it, your ambitions will be dwarfed. I'll be able to stand against Mystra and wrest her powers from her for the betterment of all.
The crown of Karsus? Nonsense. Even if it still existed, you couldn't possibly handle its power.
Perhaps you could not. But Netherill's power is in my blood. And Mystra? I know her in ways that most mortals can only dream of.
Ah, so it is you. Mystra's discarded lapdog. And now you think your bark is cause to make me tremble?
There is no need for me to bark. My actions will speak for themselves. In time.
Then go. Act. I'll open a fine vintage in your name, once word of your failure reaches me.
Elminster?
Oh, hello, my boy. No, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying a lungful of Buldurian air. Yes, a distinctive aroma, though perhaps not one worthy of bottling. I hear you've been browsing in the most esteemed of Emporium's sorcerous sundries. Indulge my curiosity. What wonders did you discover there? I trusted he would be sensible enough to exercise caution in this matter and to seek the truth. By now, you are aware of the evil we are up against. Karsus's pestilent crown, the very tool with which its eponymous creator unmade an empire and magic itself. Perhaps now you understand what is at stake here, my boy. Though what Mr. asked of you was extreme, it was not without merit, nor demanded lightly.
What are you saying? Or rather, what are you not saying?
Mystra knows you defied her, Gale. Well, of course she knows. She's Mystra. She bids you come to her holy shrine in the Stormshore Tabernacle. There, she will grant you an audience at last.
Mistra's willing to speak to me again? Was this your doing, Elminster?
She knows what I see in you, just as I know what she sees in you. I was not born an old man. I know all too well what it's like to have a goddess fill your heart with longing. Looking at you is like gazing into a mirror that shows centuries long past.
The past is the past, Elminster. And the future is, well, still to be decided. By me. Not by Mystra.
If there is another way, I trust you can find it. It is not in your nature, or mine, to stop looking, to accept the first answer to any dilemma. Do what you can. Put that mind to work. Trust in yourself. Trust in the weave. If you are willing, trust in Mystra. There is a conclusion yet to be written in this sorry tale, Gale of Waterdeep. And yours is the quill that will write it.
So all it took to get Mistra's attention was to learn how to reforge an artifact that once destroyed her. It's obvious when you stop to think about it. Well, I doubt it's an apology for asking me to die on her behalf. Whatever it is. If it's important enough to send Elminster, we can be damn sure she's serious. This is a conversation that's long overdue on both sides. I owe it to her to hear her out. Come what may afterwards. I must admit, the crown of Karsus has occupied my every thought since I learned of it. If I can seize it and use it, the possibilities for us are infinite. Words alone are not enough. Permit me to show you. Please, close your eyes a moment. Astra navigamus. Few mortals ever glimpse what you're about to see. But don't be alarmed. I'm here with you. Now, open your eyes. The outer planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them? What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refused to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side. Then have me, but have the best possible version of me. The tadpoles, the orb, these threats to our existence. The gods could aid us if they wished, but instead they cower behind Io. So let us act ourselves. With the power of the crown, any foe would be rendered impotent. Any obstacle would be dwarfed by our might. I used to believe Mistra's forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please. But think what I offer. The vastness of eternity to explore, the weave at our fingertips. You would really prefer me as I am? I hope you're right. I truly do. Godly power, perhaps I can live without, but you? You're everything. You put the stars to shame. Let's sit here another while. I want to drink you in. My love, I hope you enjoyed our voyage through the cosmos. I was hoping you might have a moment to talk about it. Neither have I. Closest thing to a deserving canvas on which to place your beauty. But I've also not forgotten why I took you there. I hope you don't think less of me. Great ambition should not come at the expense of what you already hold dear. I see that now. What divine calculus plucked each of us from the ether and thrust us together. I don't deserve you, truly. But I will do my utmost to earn the right. Was there anything else you wish to discuss? I've often asked myself the same question, and never really found a satisfactory answer. You clearly see something in me that I can't. The wisdom and intelligence required to overcome almost insurmountable odds, perhaps? Or the stupidity required to attempt it. I take it as a compliment either way. You don't get to be 13 centuries old without becoming a sound judge of character. And cheese, apparently. I regret many things in my life. Choosing to be here, intact and unexploded, is not one of them. For now, to have a few more days in your company, no. I wouldn't change a thing. At a loss, really. People have always commented on my confidence, sometimes my overconfidence. In one particularly cutthroat assessment at university, my abject and incorrigible self-delusion. To put my faith in someone else and trust that we will find a better way together. It's a rather new experience for me. One I'm enjoying for the most part. But a new one, nonetheless.
There she stands, just as Elminster promised. Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic. It sets your teeth on edge.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mystra, wherever she may be.
Go on then, Gale. We'll be here waiting for you when you're finished.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mystra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee. Not the message one hopes to receive from a past lover. But her first love was always the weave. At best, I was a close second. When I pictured at this moment. I thought I'd feel more in control. Yet, here I am, with palms sweatier than a bugbear's armpit. I always wonder what being nervous would feel like. I hate it. For a wizard, to have the love of the goddess of magic herself was intoxicating. An experience beyond expression. During my time locked away in Waterdeep, I prepared a quite comprehensive speech for her on the subject of our former relationship and the manner in which it ended. Alas, recent events have rendered the majority of it moot, so I'm gonna have to improvise. Unless you have any words of wisdom to impart before I go. The summoning channel Mystra has provided is one only I can enter. No matter how much I prefer not to face her alone. You'd make a fine three-dragon anti-player, you know? I think it's best I keep a cool head going into this. Approach it like a particularly high-risk round of three-dragon ante. I'll let Mystra show her flight, and then I can see how strong a chance we stand of winning the gambit. I'll only be gone for a matter of moments. The Outer Planes experience time quite differently to our own. Wait for me. Please.
Gale of Waterdeep. You look well.
As do you. But I assume we're not here solely to exchange compliments. So why am I here?
You discovered what lies at the heart of the Absolute, the crown of Karsus. And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
Because you had no right to ask that of me. You cast me out. Remember?
You were my lover, my chosen. Yet still you know so little of me. The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite Weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
So that's what you're scared of. With the crown of Karsus reforged, I could take control of the Karsite Weave.
You can no more control the Karsite Weave than a weather vane could control a storm. That it entered your body and consumed no more than your powers was a miracle. But we will not be granted another. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the crown of Karsus to me.
A great ask indeed. You've given me much to think on, as you always did.
So be it. Follow the needle of your own wisdom. We shall see how truly it leads you.
Back on mortal soil once more. I can't believe I saw her. After all this time. Relieved. Drained. Proud proud of myself for summoning the courage to go to her in the first place, and, if I'm being totally honest, a bit lightheaded. As if it wasn't enough to have seen her again. She didn't exactly summon me there for small talk. The Karsite weave. Within me this whole time. I knew the orb was no ordinary ball of magic before it to be Karsus's malignant creation. Gods! How did I not see that? But I should have known. What right had I to go about declaring myself an archmage when I was as foolish as a common apprentice in setting such an entity loose? At least now I'm armed with the truth. And Mistra's expectations. Sounds like the door to redemption is open at last. All I have to do is walk through it, carrying the crown of Karsus. Thank you. There aren't many I'd trust to stand beside me on such a journey. Fewer still who would do so because they believed I deserved such a chance. If I could promise you one thing in return for your faith in me, it's this. I will use everything in my power to ensure we defeat this evil. I will not let you down. Now, I believe we've a date with an Elder Brain to get to. Shall we?
Wow. So that was Mistra. Pretty spectacular stuff. But I think Gale was right not to agree to do her bidding, no questions asked. I respect the gods, but they don't always understand what they're asking of us. Maybe immortality makes it hard to know what it's like to be one of us piggies. Proud of Gale, though. It takes some man to hold his own in front of the divine.
This crown seems too powerful and dangerous an object for mere mortals to possess. Too dangerous even for Mistra. But I would sooner trust it with a god than with Gale.
Strangely, no. Once, a mere glimpse of her face would have been enough to turn my insides over. But not this time. In her likeness, I used to read 1,000 stories. She was beauty, wisdom, elegance, power. She contained universes. But now, it's hard to see any redeeming qualities in a lover who condemned you to death. I'd much rather gaze into your eyes than hers. Yours are capable of tenderness and feeling. No god could ever compare.
In theory, yes. You have embraced transformation so far, but this would be a complete evolution. And you will be an illithid for the rest of your days. Is this really something you would be willing to accept?
This is not the kind of decision to make based solely on your own wisdom. You must discuss it privately. An easy proposition for the Emperor to make, become a mind flayer. It has no soul to sacrifice. If it did, perhaps it would understand the weight of what it's asking of us, and why we might seek an alternative. I know we've been through this before, but our situation has changed since then. And not for the better. I think it's time we reconsider the orb. With its power, I could put an end to this whole thing. Crown, Netherbrain, Absolute. Everything. He is the prince of a people who have spent eons nursing a hatred of the very creature nestled in our skulls. Save him, and who's to say he wouldn't run us through at the first opportunity? Do not mistake me, I want to live. But I've been careless enough with my life in the past. I can hardly stand by and watch you sacrifice yours. Once I'm in position, I'll ensure you are removed to a safe vantage point to watch the fireworks. You need not die alongside me, nor surrender your soul in becoming an illithid. I like the sound of that. Very well. We'll do this the old-fashioned way, then. Swords, spells, and sweat. Adventurous to the end. Whatever form it may take. The scent of Netheril hangs heavy in this place. The brain is close, as is the crown. I'm glad we faced such a monster together. I hope that wasn't our last kiss. I'd take 1,000 more if I could. Strolling these streets together would have been quite magical in other circumstances. This is all a tad apocalyptic for my liking.
The brain. It's high above the city now, far away from any innocence. I can end this now. Stop the Absolute and spare the city. The stage is set for my final act. Mystra's bidding and the redemption that lies beyond.
You've brought me right where I need to be. I have no right to ask more of you. It's time I spirited you to safety. For this is a fate I must face alone. What's the alternative? I allow the Absolute to have its way? Die in vain along with all its victims? Or flee and live on in shame? It's just a choice between two deaths. Quick and meaningful, or torturous and pointless. It's now or never. This isn't giving up. It's securing victory at a price I am willing to pay. And everything we shared can live on. With you. Please. For too long, I've lived in fear of taking a host of innocents with me when I expired. Now at least I can be assured my demise will be saving them instead. If you're mistaken, this could be the end of everything. We'll be failing right at the last hurdle. But I only made it this far thanks to you. Who am I to question such sterling guidance now? Mystra won't be pleased. But perhaps trying to please the gods is a fool's errand. Lead on, then. I'll stay my hand as long as I can. But if the tide of battle turns against us, remember I have the means to bring a swift end to this.
But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Gionthar. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. The power of Karsus would be in my hands. But what then? What would I do with it once I have it? Sage and timely counsel, as always. And I intend to heed it. A wise man learns from his mistakes, and strives not to repeat them. I shall bring the crown to Mystra. She'll cure me of my affliction. And I'll finally be free. I'm sure, if this adventure has taught me anything, is that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. You, for example. You're always wiser than me when it mattered most. Besides, grown quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
A nip, a dance, and a song. Don't mind if I do. I think we're due an evening's reprieve. What's our leader have to say?
It's curious. After all the wonders and monstrosities we've witnessed, waking beside you seems more unreal than any of it. I've forgotten what it felt like. To greet a sunrise without fear of it being my last.
Soon I'll deliver the crown to Mystra and be rid of the orb at long last. I'll be free. Oh, him. Huh. I've been thinking a lot about that. Gale of Waterdeep. Sounds a bit pompous, don't you think? I thought I might take this opportunity to reinvent myself. Or uninvent myself, to be more accurate. You're now in the company of plain old Gale Decarius, a most brilliant wizard of intentionally limited renown. At your service. Now, I believe this is the moment where I should get to my point, so to speak. I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone, mortal or immortal. And you've proven your love for me in more ways than even the greatest mathematicians would dare to count. That being said, I wondered if you might consider accompanying me back to Waterdeep as a new member of the Decarius clan. You will? Oh, thank goodness for that. We'll need to make the arrangements, of course. The Decarius clan is scattered far and wide, and you'll have invites of your own to send out, I'm sure. But that's all to come. The day is young. And there are thousands more days ahead of us.
You and Gale have made a home for yourselves in Waterdeep. Sometimes it isn't clear what he loves more, his research or you. But when he looks into your eyes or up at the stars while he sits by your side, you know the answer. One such night, your reveries are interrupted by an embarrassed apprentice delivering an urgent message written in a frail hand, an invitation to a gathering of former allies, those who stood with you against the Netherbrain 6 months ago. Gale the adventurer has quickly become Gale the academic, but he's all too happy to leave his tower for this meeting.
Oh, hello, darling. I wasn't sure you'd make it. Yes, you are a very social sort, aren't you? Gale's never been kept so busy in all his days. No wonder his studies are suffering. But such is the way of love, isn't it? I know that, but I intensely dislike sharing. Yes, I am. And you're a dear for putting up with this cranky old Tressim. I may show my claws now and then, but I hope I never scratch you too deeply. Gale, on the other hand, the way he leaves his potions in absolute disarray. I know for certain he wasn't raised in a barn, but you'd never know it. We must begin our campaign to set him on the straight and narrow when we return home. Now, enjoy your party. You've quite earned it, if the balladeers are to be believed.
You're quite certain I look acceptable? I can't remember when I last wore something other than my teaching robes. Feels a little odd to find myself in something so unsinged. That's a relief. I wasn't sure if I'd made too much of an effort. Or perhaps not enough.
If only you'd applied those efforts to that thing on your chin.
The day I shave this beard, Tara, is the day I shave you. For both our sakes, I hope it never comes. I won't keep you to myself for too long. But while I have you, I want to say thank you for encouraging me to attend this evening. Teaching at Blackstaff Academy has proven such an unexpected pleasure. Sometimes I find it hard to tear myself away. Just one of the myriad unexpected ways life has delighted me in recent months. Even my own city feels new to me, now that I share it with you. That you do. I've not had so much fun in Waterdeep since my own days as a Blackstaff apprentice.
You've certainly made quite the impression on my friends down at the yawning portal. The last I heard, they were thinking of naming a drink after you. I'm just glad you're happy there. When we met, our lives were rather different, and being here this evening, well, reminds me how much has changed. When our adventure began, our troop had no more in common than the worm in our brains. Standing here, now, I no longer see the people we were. Frightened, desperate, alone. We changed. We survived. And we did it together. I've missed them. I've missed this. No, no. I prefer the warmth of my library's hearth these days. But the feeling of adventure, I confess, that I long for.
Now, Mr. Dekarios, we've spoken about this. You really must find safer pastimes for your own good and mine too.
I have been dabbling with the idea of capturing our adventures with humble ink and parchment. You've tales enough to fill a few good volumes. And when the truth runs out, who knows? My quill might take us on further adventures yet. Now, much as I could spend an eternity in your company, we see plenty of each other already. Tempting as it is to keep you all to myself, would be terrible company if we didn't mingle for at least part of the evening. I love you. Now go on, before I change my mind.